Today we're going to be showing you how to change the oil on a 2013 ZX10 as well as do the brake pads. So let's dive right in. First thing you're going to need, 17mm wrench or socket and ratchet. Get out that drain plug. You'll find directly underneath here. Lefty loosey. Get that second drain. Then you'll notice your oil filter right here. You can actually see it better through this front. There's two ways to skin this cat, really. You can remove the lower fairing, which would be basically all these bolts here. And then there should be push pins here. You can see this customer has the old zip ties in there, which leads me to believe that if I disconnect these fairings that have obviously been damaged, we'll probably have a hard time getting them back on. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put some long extensions in a filter wrench, and I'm gonna go through the front to get it off. It's gonna spill a little bit, maybe get on this, but better than dealing with trying to fix damaged parts that you don't get paid to do. So, see what we can do. As you can see, fits right in there. It's a nifty little trick. Just need about 9 inches of extension. If you don't know what 9 inches is, ask your girlfriend. And you can pull this puppy out right through the top without removing the fairings. We're going to replace it with a Kawasaki genuine OEM filter. Any motorcycle oil is fine, so today we're using Yamalu 1040. It's going to take 4 full quarts. Basically all we're going to do is reverse the process. So on my hand, never use the wrench on the install of the oil filter. It's just going to make it harder on the next guy. And I normally write the date, but I forgot my paint marker, so this guy's gonna have to remember his own date. Almost done dripping there. Just gonna put this drain plug back in. I did this service last time, so I already replaced the crush washer on here. Sometimes if they're crushed, you replace those too. Never use any type of electric ratchets or anything on your drain pan. Just hand tight. That's it. You don't want that thing getting stripped. Go over here to the other side of the bike. Grab a clean funnel. And we're going to pour all 4 of these quarts in. Actually, I'm going to pour them all into here and then use this. See how these big bottles want to pour out. That's why I don't want to use the little funnel. This is much more manageable for me. Soak up for a second. 4 quarts. Pour it on in. Simple as that. All I did was remove this black cap here. Add the full 4 quarts. Check it. Run it. Should be good to go oil-wise. Notice over here it has a hole for the sight glass. That's how you check the oil. Stand the bike up, check the oil. It's going to be a little overfilled right now until I start it. Probably hard to see, but that's basically an oil change on your 2013 ZX10. It should be the same from about 2011 to 15-ish, maybe even longer. Don't quote me. Now brakes, this is a job you can use the ratchets on. Electric. 12 millimeter, you're going to get out these 2 bolts here. These are your caliper bolts, they hold the caliper on. Before you do that, you're going to take a 5 Allen, break these loose by hand. No electric ratchets on these. At least till you break them loose. Hear that? That's how you know it's broken loose. Now if you want leave those hanging for a second. Get after these 12s. Kind of wiggle it off. See, these pads are actually in pretty good shape, but the customer got here some upgraded pads, double H, a little better metal, should last a little longer, bite a little harder. So now that you got that, you'll apply pressure here, slide these pins out. That's how those go. Once the pins are out, the pads will then fall out. Take the pads, go in that direction. New ones. Don't get any dirt or grease or anything on these surfaces. Make sure you just want this retaining clip to just stay intact. Also, take a look at these. These aren't too bad. If they're real rusty or anything, you'll run some sandpaper over them. These ones are not. Slide the pads in, same way they came out. Make sure there's a gap so they sit on each side of the guide. Hold them up with your finger, slide these back in. Very simple. Once those are in, take your 5 Allen. Always start everything by hand. Reduce your risk of stripping anything. And you just take your regular ratchet, tighten it up. You'll go to the other side, rinse and repeat, same thing. You'll notice I like to take a lot of stuff apart electronically, but prefer to put it back together by hand. Much less chance of damage. Over tightening, stripping, whatever. You'll notice that the new pads may not have a lot of room. Sometimes you just gotta spread them open a little bit with a flat head. Throw that on the ground when you're done with it. See, so these need to be spread even a little more. Go nice and tight on these. You definitely don't want them coming off. Kind of hard to strip them anyways. That's how you do the front brakes. Now let's step back here to the rear. See what we got going on. Okay, the customer again has bought HH centered pads, which is basically your highest heat, highest performing pads. Let's see here. All right, on this one, same thing. We got a 5 Allen here, and it looks like I'm gonna probably crack this 6 Allen here and try to pivot the caliper back, and then the pad should be left sitting in the holder. So on your caliper, you may notice there's going to be a flathead cap that sits inside here that just covers this 5 Allen. I don't know why they do that. Also don't know why this customer does not have that in, but honestly, I take them out and I don't put them back in either, so that's your call, but you may need the flathead for that. Grab my 6 Allen. Oh yeah. It's like an Incredible Hulk put this on. This should be just a pin as well. Just much bigger. Alright. Yep. Slide the pads out the back. Slide the new pad in. Rest it down. Same thing with this one. Old one out the back, just slides out. New one should just slide in. Now, come around this backside. Show you there's a groove, if you can see it, that it needs to sit in. You gotta make sure you get it in there in the front. If you come right here on the front now, you'll see what I'm talking about. See that groove? So you're gonna wanna make sure front and back is in that groove. Otherwise your pads won't sit evenly and probably won't be able to be bolted down. Right now, got them both in. I'm gonna lift these up, slide this pin through, push this back down. You can grease this if you want to. I don't want to. Turn it all back down. Nice and tight. Oh, you see we missed one there. Okay, once you got this all in, one more important step. You're gonna come over here and you're gonna pump the brake. But we can't pump this brake. This guy has his, he's waiting on a new rear set. Obviously his fell apart, it's being held on by zip ties, so we'll skip that step. Same thing with the front, you're gonna wanna pump the brake. The reason you're doing that, you've spread the pads out. You want them to now contact your rotor so that when you take it out on the road and go to make your first stop, you don't pull your lever right to the bar with no brakes. So that's pretty much it for today. Very simple service. Again, 2013 ZX10. Let me show you the tools that we used. Here are all the tools you will need to do the job as I did it. 17, a ratchet, 2 extensions, filter wrench, 5mm Allen, 6mm Allen, 12mm socket. And that's it.